When you think about modern air forces, some are really looking ahead, constantly scanning the horizon, not just for threats, but for ways to evolve, right? To
Yeah.
stay right at the cutting edge.
Absolutely. And the Pakistan Air Force, the PAF, they really seem to fit that mold we're seeing.
That's what we're focusing on today, isn't it? Their recent strides, becoming even more modern, more capable.
Exactly. We've been digging into quite a few sources, looking at their modernization efforts, which are pretty determined, actually, and also their training, which is intense. And importantly, how they contribute beyond just defense.
Yeah, that national contribution piece is interesting. So our mission, our goal in this deep dive is to kind of sift through all that, get past the headlines.
Right. Understand the substance. What are the key upgrades? How are they really preparing their people? What's the impact?
Okay, let's dive in. Where should we start? Modernizing the fleet seems like the obvious place.
It is. And what's striking is the strategic approach. It's not just swapping out old for new.
It's more calculated.
Definitely. It's about integrating genuinely cutting-edge tech to handle, the complexities of today's security picture.
And the big example everyone points to is the JF-17 Thunder, specifically Block 3. This feels like a big jump.
Oh, it is. It's a really significant leap. Remember, it's jointly developed with China, a multi-role aircraft.
Yeah.
But Block 3, it packs substantial advancement.
In avionics, weapons, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Core systems, avionics, radar, the weapons it can carry, big upgrades across the board.
The ASA radar, the active electronically scanned array, that gets mentioned a lot. Why is that such a game changer?
So think of it like this. Older radars, they physically sweep a beam, right?
Right.
And ESA uses lots of tiny modules. It can steer beams almost instantly, electronically. No moving parts for the beam itself.
Ah, okay. So much faster, more flexible.
Way more flexible. It means the JF-17 Block 3 can track, say, multiple targets at once, much further away, engage them better. It's a fundamental shift in situational awareness.
Better awareness, better combatability. Makes sense.
Huge difference. And, it's fascinating how that kind of tech then plugs into the wider air defense network.
But it's not just the JF-17, is it? The sources suggest a broader strategy.
No, definitely not. The JF-17 Block 3 is maybe a cornerstone, but they're actively acquiring other advanced tech too.
From different places.
Yes, from various international partners. You
Oh.
see a clear trend: better air-to-air missiles, more precise air-to-ground weapons, sophisticated electronic warfare systems, better surveillance tech.
So diversification, not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly that. And it helps ensure they can handle a wider range of, potential challenges and maintain that credibility in the region.
Building a rounded force, adaptable.
That's the goal. Strategic sourcing to keep that competitive edge.
Now, you mentioned earlier it's not just about the planes. The sources emphasize that too. What else is involved in this modernization?
That's such a critical point. You can have the best jet in the world, but if the support system isn't there...
It's not as effective.
Right. So the PAF is investing heavily in what's often called network-centric capabilities.
Okay, break that down. What does that mean in practice?
Think of it like linking everything together. Aircraft, ground stations, command centers, even personnel on the ground, sharing information seamlessly, in real time.
Faster decisions, better coordination.
Spot on. It involves things like secure data links, advanced comms networks, integrated command and control centers. It's the digital backbone.
An ecosystem, almost. Everything talking to everything else.
That's a good way to put it. It's about maximizing the potential of every asset they have, making the whole system work together effectively.
Which, I suppose, leads us straight into the people needed to run this ecosystem. The training aspect.
Perfect transition, yeah. Because having the tech is one thing.
You need the highly skilled people.
Absolutely. And the PAF puts a massive emphasis on that. Rigorous, continuous training, professional development. It's core to their philosophy.
And they're doing a lot internationally. The sources mention exercises like Shaheen with China, Anatolian Eagle in Turkey. What's the real value there?
Immense value. These aren't just drills. They're opportunities to operate alongside and sometimes against other leading air forces.
So testing their own skills.
Testing skills, learning different tactics, seeing new technologies up close, and crucially, improving interoperability, the ability to work smoothly with allies.
That makes sense. You learn by doing, especially alongside others.
Exactly. It shows they're committed to high standards, to international cooperation. It builds relationships, too.
But it's not all international, right? What about training back home?
Oh, no. They have a very robust domestic setup. specialized training schools for different areas, and a huge investment in simulators.
Simulators must be key for complex, maybe dangerous scenarios.
Hugely important. You can practice high-threat situations, complex maneuvers, emergency procedures, all without the cost and risk of live flying for every single scenario. It allows for repetition and refinement.
What kind of skills are they really focusing on in these domestic programs?
It's pretty broad. Obviously, advanced flying skills, but also really critical modern areas. Electronic warfare is a big one.
Ah, the invisible battlefield.
Precisely. Also, cybersecurity within the aerospace context, protecting their own networks, is vital now. And joint operations working seamlessly with the Army and Navy.
Preparing for that full spectrum, as they say.
They have to. And another interesting achievement, mentioned in the sources, is their push for indigenous training capabilities.
Building up their own training capacity reduces reliance on others.
Exactly. Less need to send personnel abroad for every little thing. It lets them tailor programs perfectly to their own specific needs, their own operational environment, the specific kit they use.
That self-reliance must be a major strategic advantage.
It really is. It's a big step in overall capability development.
Yeah.
Now, shifting gears a little, it's important we also touch on the PAF's role beyond just defense.
Right, the humanitarian assistance, the national development stuff, that often gets overlooked but seems quite significant.
It is significant. They're consistently involved when disaster strikes or for national projects.
We've unfortunately seen major floods, earthquakes in the region. How does the PAF step in? What do they actually do?
Their ability to deploy rapidly is key. In floods, for instance, they're often the first ones able to airlift essential supplies, food, medicine, tents to areas completely cut off.
Lifelines, essentially.
Absolutely. Search and rescue, too. Evacuating people from danger zones. They can operate in really tough conditions, reach remote spots quickly. That saves lives.
That speed and reach must be invaluable in those first critical hours.
It really is. And it's not just the immediate crisis response. They contribute longer term, too.
To national development, how does that work for an Air Force?
Primarily through logistical support. Think about major infrastructure projects, maybe roads or facilities in very remote mountainous areas.
Ah, so they can help transport materials, equipment, personnel where it's hard to reach otherwise.
Exactly. It shows their versatility, They're not just a fighting force. They're committed to serving the nation in multiple ways. It builds goodwill, too, I imagine.
Safeguarding the nation, but also helping build it. That's a powerful combination.
It demonstrates a real dedication to the country's well-being beyond the purely military role. It's the key part of their identity, it seems.
Okay, so looking ahead, how are they positioning themselves for the future?
Yeah, the crystal ball question. What's next on the horizon?
Well, crystal balls are always foggy, especially in defense. But the sources give us some clear pointers. They're definitely focused on staying ahead.
What are the key areas they seem to be investing in or exploring for the future?
Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or drones, that's a big one.
Yeah.
For surveillance, reconnaissance, maybe other roles down the line. They offer persistence, staying power.
Right, longer endurance, less risk to pilots in some missions. Exactly. Then there's artificial intelligence, AI, exploring how AI can help in aviation. Maybe processing vast amounts of sensor data faster, aiding pilot decisions, even autonomous functions eventually.
That sounds potentially revolutionary.
It could be. And maybe less glamorous, but absolutely vital. Cyber defense, continuously strengthening their ability to protect all these network systems from cyber threats.
Which are only going to get more sophisticated.
Constantly evolving. So
Yeah.
UAVs, AI, cyber, these seem to be the core future focus areas for maintaining that edge.
Of course, specific details on, say, future aircraft buys or deployment numbers, that's usually kept under wraps.
Oh, definitely. That's standard practice for strategic reasons. But the overall direction seems clear. It's about being forward-thinking, adaptive.
Agile.
Agile, yes. Ready for whatever the future security landscape looks like.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If you had to distill the key takeaways from this deep dive on the PAF's recent progress, what would they be?
I'd say, first, the successful integration of genuinely advanced technology, like the JF-17 Block 3 and its AESA radar, is a major marker.
Okay, the hardware upgrade.
Second, a really deep, demonstrable commitment to rigorous, relevant training, both at home and internationally, to make sure their people can maximize that technology.
Right, human element.
And third, their significant role beyond defense. The humanitarian aid, the national development support, it shows a multifaceted force.
Hardware, people, and national contribution.
Pretty much sums it up. It all points to a very dedicated, professional, and technically advancing Air Force.
It certainly reinforces their position as, a vital pillar of Pakistan's defense structure and clearly a source of national pride.
Absolutely. The efforts we've seen reflect that continued dedication.
Thinking about all this, the tech, the training, the regional dynamics, it really makes you ponder the future trajectory of air power right across that region, doesn't it? What innovations are just around the corner?